I am what is considered a fractional chief marketing officer. And what that basically means is I operate in the role of chief marketing officer for multiple businesses, hence the fractional part. Um, and so I might specialize in Facebook and YouTube ads. I've recently added TikTok ads to the roster as well. I'm a senior copywriter and digital marketing strategist. Basically, what I do in a nutshell is I design curriculums, I launch campaigns for small businesses in both online service and in e-commerce. I'm known for high converting ad campaigns and a down to earth teaching style. Now, I have made small business specifically clients over, I would say 2.5. I think now I'm approaching probably 3.2 million. So I need to update that within the last 2.5 years, mostly with products priced under $200. So let me let y'all know, during the pandemic, that is not a small accomplishment. Okay, like, so I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for that one. Like, and I have been given, ad spends of about 86K, generated 350 back. Another client of mine, I think I'm at 8,000 for 2022 and generated 177 K back. Ad spend of 35K, generated 428 in 10 months. So, and that 177K, the client I was telling you that she spent about 8K to make that 177 is contributed to half of her revenue for 2022 alone. So I know what it is out here in these internet streets in terms of getting e-commerce and online services results. I am a certified master persuader and a graduate of Seminole State College. I live in the Central Florida area, and it's me. I'm single. I don't got no kids, so I don't have anything else to tell y'all. But I love Marvel, and I love to read. So that's me in a nutshell. Okay, now gonna dive in. So basically what I plan to do today is give you guys like an overview of what digital marketing is, what are like the main 8 areas that it encompasses, and then I'm going to talk about different metrics that you should be tracking. I'm also going to tell you like what type of email campaigns you should have up and running if you don't already, if you're advertising, where you should be, and which platforms to start with first. And then we'll also cover, what type of metrics you should be looking at in your marketing efforts so that when you are pitching to companies, either through this bootcamp or later on in the future, when you know these cold, you put yourself in like the best position to get investment help, because it's clear and it's obvious that your business is on a trajectory for growth. Is that cool? We good? All right. So, in terms of what digital marketing is, it is the act of promoting and selling products and services through leveraging specifically online platforms. So a lot of times people think digital marketing is just social media, but that's not the case. It actually includes social media, paid advertising, and email marketing. Don't let people tell you that email marketing is dead. That is not the truth, friends. A lot of money to be made with email. Now, rule number 1 in any type of marketing is you have to make the right offer at the right time in front of the right person. So I need y'all to put that for me in the chat. Right offer, right time, right person. That's what it takes, okay? Digital marketing helps you do that by reaching your ideal clients where they already are. They are online. A lot of times I will hear people say, oh, my ideal client, she's not online. Unless maybe it's like my dad who's 90, perhaps not, but somebody's going online for him for stuff, right? So everybody's online. It doesn't matter who your ideal client is, they're online. Okay, like, so that's that. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of leveraging online? So thankfully, Dr. Anna already covered quite a few of these. Leveraging online helps you to be scalable. It helps you when there are situations like the pandemic. You know, when you get ready, when you are ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So if you're already leveraged online, when shifts like this happen, you're already in a position where it's just you making like some minor adjustments and stuff like that. So it will make it easier as well for you to create awareness of who you are and engagement with your clients both before and after the sale. It helps you convert your new buyers into raving fans. How many of you have bought something, enjoyed it, and discussed it online, right? So it helps you to convert your new buyers into raving fans who buy more and more often. It also helps you to kickstart any word of mouth because social sharing and all of the benefits that come with it. How many of us go on Amazon, or now my new little personal favorite app is Shein? I like to buy clothes on Shein, y'all. And I go and I look at the pictures and I look at, when people receive the product, what it looked like. So all of those benefits are when you have a place for those things to go. That is where you get those results. And it also, again, shortens the buyer's journey because you are offering them the right product at the right time. Most of the time, because of how the pixels and how social media works, how many of you have like been looking for airline tickets or whatever, then the next thing you open your Facebook and it's like, oh, did you know you could go to this hotel, or did you notice you could go to this thing? So they're trying to work with you to shorten that journey to make it happen because they know that the person, for example, might have an interest in travel. So it really helps to shorten the time frame from when they know you to when you actually make the sale. So let me just check in the chat real quick. See, okay, yep, right offer, right person, right time. Perfect. Okay, so now we want to talk about the great 8. So digital marketing consists of 8 key areas that work together. These 8 areas create a foundation for your business. It attracts prospects, it nurtures relationships, and you actually make offers that drive conversion. So it's not, I feel like sometimes in small business, we've all gone through this phase where it's kind of like a throw spaghetti at the wall. You trying to see like what sticks. And so having something in place with the great 8 really helps to eliminate you from having to go through that process. Or if you have gone through that process, it makes it a lot shorter. So number one piece of the great 8 is the customer value journey. Your content marketing, like what are you publishing? What are you putting out there? Your digital advertising. So are you using paid traffic sources to advertise to let people know about what it is that you do and who you serve? Then the thing that everybody thinks digital marketing is, but like I said, that's only a small piece of it, is social media. What is your social media presence? Are you lively? Are you engaged? And that also has a lot to do with your brand. So like, for example, there are certain brands that we know that have like a personality of their own, and that's where it shows up, is on social media. Like Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Ben and Jerry's, Target, they all have very distinct and unique personalities to those brands, and that's where it shows up, is in their social media. Email marketing, like I said before, a lot of people neglect email marketing, and quiet as this kept, y'all, quiet as this kept, that if you take nothing away from today, email marketing is where the money is at, because you can actually pinpoint it down to a science. Like if my email list is this big, I send out an email, I can expect this amount of money. It's like formulaic, which with the other ones is not as much. Okay. Then there's search marketing, which is basically, search engine optimization, website analytics, and conversion rate optimization. So all of these 8 areas is comprised of the whole totality of digital marketing. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to dive into each one a little bit at a time, and then there will be time for you to implement on some of the things that we covered today. And also, You will get the slide deck. So I know that you're taking notes, but that's mostly, you know, for you to learn and to know, but you will get the slide deck after. So the customer value journey. So this is a nice term for the process that every prospect of yours is going to go through in order for them to become a new customer. So you're going to take them on a journey from stranger to buyer to raving fan. When this journey is mastered, it allows you to intentionally reverse engineer your business, and then you generate revenue on repeat. I love that. I love that. Do y'all love that? Revenue on repeat. Who is ready for more of that? And this is what this is like, I need to make a t-shirt that says this, but hope is not a marketing strategy. Can y'all please put that in the chat for me? Like, that is my slogan. Hope is not a marketing strategy. It's not. Okay. And a lot of people, you know, this is you putting stuff out there. I hope it does something. I hope, you know, I make sales. Hope is not a marketing strategy. It is not. Okay. All right. So this is why knowing the customer value journey is so important. All right. Now, the steps to the customer value journey. So I like to compare your customer's journey to being in a dating relationship. This is the analogy that makes the most sense to me. And so you'll see as we talk further why that is. But basically, the customer value journey, you want the person to have an awareness that you exist, right? So let's say in a dating relationship, you go somewhere, maybe you go to a bar, I don't know. You have to have an awareness that the person of your interest is there, right? They have to know you exist. Once they know that you exist, then you have to take them through a process of engagement. So there has to be like a little conversation, you know, maybe when the person approaches you, might ask you to dance or, you know, ask you for your name or whatever. There has to be something that you do that piques their curiosity in order for them to engage. Once they engage, you're going to offer them the ability to subscribe, right? So in a dating analogy, that would be like you get the digits, right? You get the number, you get the phone number, so that there's the opportunity for us to talk after we've had this initial meeting, right? And so with the subscription, so they could be subscribing to hear from you through SMS text. They could be subscribing to hear from you through email, but somehow, some way, you now have their contact information for you to be able to market to them ongoing. Then you want to convert. So convert is, you know, we're gonna keep it PG-13, but that's you kiss, right? The conversion is you have a kiss, but y'all know, you know, what I really would say. But that is, so, you know, it's happened. We are now in we're fully in a relationship now, right? And so a lot of times businesses will stop at this point, but just like in a natural relationship, just because, you know, you kiss someone or whatever, like there's still stuff you have to do after to maintain healthy communication in the relationship and for the person's needs to be met so that you have the opportunity to kiss again, right? So this is the process that you want to take your customer through. Like, you want to make sure that after they purchase from you, what is the experience like? Are they excited? You want to ascend. So ascend basically means like, well, in a dating analogy, well, maybe now we move in together or we get married or we, you know, but there's something where we escalate the closeness to now we are official, you know. So there are certain things that, you know, your clients will know. People will see and be like, oh, I know Indira, like some of my friends, like I know Indira loves Starbucks, or I know that's because now I've made it a personal responsibility of mine to share my love for this brand. And so that's when people decide to either become an advocate for what you do or like a passive promoter. A passive promoter just means I may love your company and I may love your business. I'm not out there posting about it, but if someone asks me, you're gonna be the first person that comes to mind that I recommend. And then lastly, a paid promoter is someone who is actually taking it, you know, to the highest level, where they are actually getting paid to promote your services. So they're an affiliate, and they are happy to be so, right? Because they've gone through all of the stages and they're very excited to promote for compensation what it is that you're doing. And let me just check the chat real quick. Bye. Yes, correct. Okay, so now the number one mistake that businesses make, and this is the reason why I use the relationship analogy, because it will make so much sense to you now. The number one business mistake that businesses make is they try to move people all the way from stranger all the way to promoter in one campaign. This is impossible. That's like, going back to my analogy, you meet the person in the bar, like, are you gonna propose marriage before you even get the number? I mean, it's you know, the person, it would be considered rude there, like it's considered rude in business, right? So a campaign's goal, when you have a marketing campaign, your goal should really be to just move somebody maybe 1 to 2 to 3 journey steps at a time max. We can't take them from, you know, excited affiliate to I just learned about the brand today. Like, you know what I mean? You have to give time for the person, for the relationship to be built. Does that make sense, guys? Good, we're clear, we're good. And so now y'all see why the analogy makes sense, because when you put it in that framework, because it is a relationship that you're building with your ideal client. And so when you put it in that framework, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I was that dude. Like, I was the one that was like really, you know, super aggressive. Like, or maybe you were the person who wasn't doing enough after the person was the I call it, like, you know, booty call entrepreneur. Like, you were the person, you got the sale, and then you never followed up after about their experience. You never asked them how they feel. You weren't concerned, you know what I mean, with how excited they were after the purchase. So I feel like changing your mindset in terms of how you deal with your customer, and understanding that you are in fact in a relationship with them, I think will make your communications with them much better. All right, so okay, second of the great 8 is your content marketing. And that is, in this process, this is where you're going to kind of discuss your sales funnels. So every sales funnel has 3 stages. Again, awareness, they need to know that you exist, right? 2, there's an evaluation process. People have options, right? They have other choices. If I'm looking for, you know, yellow paint, or if I'm looking for a chef or whatever, I have options. I don't, you know, there's more than one person who I can give my business to. So there's a process of evaluation that the person is going to go through, where they're checking you out in comparison to what is currently available. And then there's conversion. If I decide after my process of evaluation that I want to move forward with you, then it converts into a sale. So your goal as the business owner is to deliver valuable content that satisfies your audience needs at each of these stages, right? So the awareness stage, when you're building content for that, that's more so getting people knowing about your backstory, people knowing about your brand, people knowing why you're doing what you're doing. That's the type of things that you would share in awareness. That's the type of things that you would share in an introduction, right? Same concept. So perfect content marketing. So when you're developing a content marketing strategy for your business, perfect content marketing is possible when you consider all these stages. So like I said, awareness is your ideal client is aware that they have a problem. And sometimes it's not even a problem. It's a desire that they have. And they're aware about that. And they're also aware that your business exists, right? The evaluation, like I said, they have multiple options available, right? And they can choose to consider them. And sometimes people choose to do nothing, right? But they just need more time. And then lastly, the conversion is when a purchase happens after they become aware of their problem or desire and they've considered what those options are. Then they make a choice and they make a purchase. So when you are developing your content marketing strategy, this is how you need to, you know, reframe how you're posting, how you're showing up, to understand that people are basically taking you through this process. Okay. Now, how are you gonna do this, Indira? Right? It's great in theory, but how in the world am I gonna do this? So awareness. In order for people to find out that you exist, I recommend starting either a blog, a podcast, or a video. Truth be told, you can, if you create videos, you really can do all three, because the video can be transcribed into a blog, and it can be ripped into just audio and made into a podcast. So, but I leave all three of the options there if you want to start with one at a time. But really, video is the key, because it's just like, again, going back to a relationship analogy, like, how are you going to get to know a person best? Face to face, right? And that's what video would be for you with your client. So talking on the phone, which would be like, a podcast, or sending each other texts or writing, doesn't mean that a relationship can't be built, but video just does it faster. Okay. An evaluation. So remember I told you that the person is trying to evaluate you in comparison to other options that they might have. So that means you have to give them something that's going to make them choose you, right? So in the evaluation process, things that work, giving people a first-time discount code, having some kind of a lead magnet. So let's say, you have like a free recipe or a free tool or resource or a checklist or a cheat sheet or something like that that's going to help them do something. That's any type of like useful resource or training that you give to them for free, is going to basically give them goodwill towards you, and you will, rise to the top of the list in their choices that they're considering. And then the conversion is going to happen usually through some form of an email marketing campaign that begins once someone enters the evaluation stage. Doesn't always have to be email marketing. Sometimes people do just click on an advertisement or social media, but these are just a way for you to basically see how all of these things can be put into place into your content marketing. All right. All right, now I did a lot of talking. I did a lot of sharing, and now it's time for you all to implement. Okay. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to let me know in the chat. I want to know, what content are you going to begin sharing regularly with your audience to increase your brand awareness? Blog, podcast, or video? I want you to decide on that. And then the second thing you got for homework is which one are you going to start using as a call to action in your evaluation process? Are you going to do a first-time discount code, a lead magnet, or some kind of a useful resource or training? So y'all got 1 minute. Here we go. Let me see. Let me see these answers. All right, so Otis is gonna do video, Martha, video, Chef Jordan, video, Rebecca Lee, blog and video, useful resource. Otis again is gonna use a discount code, Chef Jordan, discount code, Nicole, video, useful resource, Natasha, video and discount code, Katia, video, Indira, video, Aurelia, video and resource. Perfect. I love it. All right. And now, the next thing that we want to talk about in the grade 8 is, this is the one that, everybody wants to know more about. So we're going to spend, a little bit of time here. But the next thing in your grade 8 is digital advertising. So I want you to consider digital advertising is like a water hose, and your organic traffic, which is like your social media, consider that to be like rain. Okay. So a water hose means you have control over the flow. It can be turned on, it can be turned off. You can direct exactly, where you want the water to hit, exactly where you want it to go. You have control. So an ad is like a water hose. Um, Organic traffic is like rain, right? So you have a home, you have a lawn, it's going to rain at some point, but you're not sure when. You don't know how much rain is going to be. You don't know how long the rain is going to last. And that's exactly what happens with your organic traffic or your social media, your blogs, your podcasts. Eventually some people are going to be moved to purchase based on this content, but you don't know how. You don't know what episode it's going to be. You don't know what video. You don't know how long it's going to take for someone to listen to your videos and blogs before you just don't know, right? And so although there are many platforms that you can advertise on, the key thing is that your water hose in terms of advertising needs direction. So you need a plan in place for the traffic that's going to generate, from it. You do not want to also with advertising, you don't want to recreate the wheel. Like, use what is already proven to work first before you experiment in other places. And so a lot of times, especially when you have like a limited budget on what you can use, sometimes having like, $100 for Facebook, 100 for LinkedIn, 100 for YouTube, maybe it's better to have 300 and be on YouTube, or maybe it's better to have 300 and be on Facebook. You have to have a plan in place so that the water goes where exactly it's needed to go, and you direct that flow the best way you can. Does that make sense? I got it. It makes sense. Okay. Okay. Good. Ravis Lavish and Lamicia came through. All right. So the top three sources of paid traffic. Like I said, I've just ventured out into TikTok. Y'all, it's rough out in them streets on TikTok. Okay, but the top three sources of paid traffic, my girl, are Facebook, Google, and YouTube. Now, just like in the offline space, I want you to now remember that each one of these, you're going to look at them differently from this point forward. They kind of serve as replacements for things offline. So Facebook would be considered like an online, it's like a billboard, right? So when you're driving on the highway and you see billboards, they are literally a visual interruption on your journey. But when you're going to, if I decide I want to go to Nakia's house, like, I didn't get in my car to go look at billboards. I have a purpose. My purpose on getting in the car was to go to her house. But these billboards are going to be interruptions on my way, right? So that is what Facebook serves on. People do not, I know this is going to hurt somebody's feelings today, but it's all love and we're all family. But people don't get on Facebook. They don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get on Facebook so that I could go buy stuff. It doesn't happen. I'm sorry. Like, if you've been led to believe differently, I'm sorry. But nobody wakes up in the morning like, yes, I can't wait to get on Facebook so I can see some ads so I could buy stuff. Like, your ad is an interruption in what they're doing, right? And then with Google is the replacement of online yellow pages. Like, it serves as a yellow pages, but online. So people, when you go on Google, you're searching for a specific thing, right? Google is a search engine. So, there are certain keywords that hit that you bid for, so that when people are searching, you come up, they find you, right? So, and then with YouTube nowadays is basically the equivalent of TV. So just like with TV, YouTube's ads are a disruption in whatever someone is viewing. But the only difference is that they want to make sure that the ads are relevant, because the channels and the videos that the ads are going to show on have been specifically chosen. So it is a disruption, but the person kind of knows, like, when you sit down and watch TV, you expect to watch commercials, right? Unless you want to pay more for you not to see them. But that is that expectation. So the person's like in a better frame of mind in terms of that. All right. Martha said Google is her favorite. Yay. All right. So now this is my recommendation for you guys in terms of an advertising plan. You know, y'all want to go rogue, I don't know, but this is what I do when I'm starting advertising for people. The very first place that I start is Facebook and Instagram ads. Facebook right now is currently 2.8 billion. Did y'all hear me say billion monthly active users? So that's not how many people have a Facebook account. That's how many people in a month actually go on Facebook. Did y'all hear me say 2.8 billion? Oh, okay. It is the world's largest social media platform, and that is not changing like anytime soon. 69% of all adults in the US use Facebook. And on average, the average person, y'all, is accessing Facebook 8 times a day. We need help. We need help, okay? And in 2020, Facebook received almost 24% of all ad revenue, like in the world throughout the pandemic. Facebook received like a quarter of it. That is like astronomical. Like, so this is the first place that you should start advertising. Also, it's one of those situations like, if you can make it work on Facebook, you can make it work anywhere, right? Because if it's converting on Facebook, it's a high probability that it's going to convert on the other ones, right? And also, I recommend Facebook because you are able to advertise on 2 platforms at once. Because Facebook owns Instagram, when you start advertising on Facebook, you literally advertise on Instagram at the same time. It's just a click of a button. So it's not like you got to create a whole Instagram ad. You got to create a whole Facebook. It's one platform and the ad just shows both. So as a small business, you get more bang for your buck starting with Facebook because you're going to get the opportunity to show up in 2 places with the same budget spent. Now, once you start advertising on Facebook and Instagram and you are successful, the next place that I recommend going to is Google. Okay. This is the second place. So visitors who click on an ad are 50% more likely to buy the product or use the advertised service. Google ads will boost your overall brand awareness by 80%. And there are over 63,000 search queries processed by Google every second, y'all. That is like amazing. It is the search engine pioneer. There are other search engines, I think like Bing and, some other raggedy whatever, I don't know. But they hold a 76% share of the search engine market. And also 35% of users that do a search for something on Google, 35% of them usually buy that particular product within 5 days of when they looked it up. So that's my recommendation number 2. And then number 3 is YouTube. So YouTube is the third place that I recommend that you begin advertising. And YouTube, again, also like Facebook, has over 2 billion monthly active users. They are the second most popular website in the world. They are the second largest search engine in the world. But hey, guess what? The number 1 search engine owns YouTube because it's owned by Google. So, like you get on Google, chances are it's the same platform. YouTube is used by 55% of marketers, which means there is a huge gap because that also means 45% of people who are out here marketing online are not using YouTube to its capacity, right? So that creates, a space for you to step in. Also, people watch over 1 billion hours of YouTube video content every day. We need help, y'all. That's all I can say. We need help. And 1 out of 3 baby boomers will use YouTube to learn more about a product or a service. And last but not least, YouTube ads are a perceived upgrade for any brand that uses them. So remember I said before, YouTube is considered like TV, right? So if you have a brand and your brand is doing ads on YouTube, you know, first of all, the aesthetic is with Facebook and Instagram, it's a little bit more permissible for you to be like, you know, on your phone, walking down the street, you doing a live stream, whatever. On YouTube, the caliber of video is a lot higher. And so it's a perceived upgrade because it's like, oh, he's advertising on YouTube. Oh, he's legit. Like, you know, they feel like, oh, you made it to the big time. You know what I mean? Because you're taking the time to actually make like a TV video. Okay, let me just check. Everyone says their YouTube. Category for Spotify. I would put Spotify in terms of traffic. I would put Spotify as something that you would try after these three. Because again, if you are converting on any of these three, then Spotify should work for you. But Spotify would be considered like a podcast. So and everyone has said they love YouTube. Listen, I was on YouTube the other day pulling up a recipe to make a Haitian dish called avoine with oatmeal that I love, and I went on YouTube to find it, you know? So, okay. Break time again, my friends, okay? I want you to tell me one. Did y'all hear me say choose one? Who knows? Which one of the top three are you going to start advertising with, and by when? Okay, because if we're going to make a goal, it needs to have a time frame. So, and if you're already advertising with one of these, what's the second one that you're going to add? Like, when are you going to add it to your paid traffic strategy? So, let me see these answers. Okay, I say right. I'm gonna start. I said Facebook, but you know, sometimes people go rogue, you know. And also, not everybody is at the same spot. So perhaps some of you might have been on Facebook already and nothing else, which that was a huge problem during the pandemic. A lot of people were advertising on Facebook, but then they weren't using any of the other platforms, and then Facebook and Apple got into a beef. Whole side story, y'all. I have to give y'all that tea later. Then Facebook and Apple got into a beef. It affected Facebook. So a lot of people who were solely dependent on just Facebook for their paid advertising, they had to go out and get other options. Okay. Let's see, what other answers do I have? Okay, so Natasha's Facebook. Martha says she hopes with Google. Liz, YouTube. Nicole, Facebook by next week. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Katia says Google. Aurelia, Facebook. Ravish Slash, Facebook and Instagram. Rebecca Lee, Facebook by August. Indira says she's using Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. We didn't come through, Indira. Of course my namesake is. Of course. I mean, can we ever be anything but excellent? Come on now. Like, and then, go ahead. Someone I think needs to be muted, I think. Chef Jordan, IG, Facebook. Natasha says she'll start soon, like next week. That's right. Aurelia, mid Q3. I don't know about that answer. I don't know how.
I have a question. So,
Okay.
I played around with different things, but budget's really a big deal. So with Facebook, there's a test time to get algorithms to kind of figure out what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And if I only have $500 or $800, is Facebook the best place to start? Like, is it enough to kind of get? Yeah. Okay, so like, can we talk about like what the minimum is? Because that's the part where I'm like concerned about. If I have a really small budget how much,
Sure.
and does that make sense? So that's why I have like a maybe end of July, maybe early August, maybe September.
Sure. So
Okay.
let me just, I will answer that in just a second. So let me go through. So first and foremost, with Facebook advertising, yes, you can have budgets as small as $5 to $10 a day. What I always recommend is that you are willing to spend at least the cost of your product. So if your product is, that you're selling is $30, for that item, your budget should be at least to get one sale per day. You're willing to spend the cost of one sale per day. One of the things that I recommend with Facebook when you have a small budget, yes, and like I said, you can start as small as $5 to $10. One of the things that I recommend to keep your costs down is there is a process that every business is going to have to go through in terms of creating an audience of people to even advertise to. So the way that you create an audience for social media, but a lot of people don't know that you also need to create an audience to advertise to, right? And so when you are advertising to people and they don't know you, they don't know your business, it is much more difficult for you to get that ad to convert. Like you got to do a lot more work for that ad to convert as opposed to the people who already are familiar with you. So one of the ways that you can keep your costs down with your advertising budget is I recommend if you're going to do like videos, you turn those videos into advertisements. And then what you're going to do is you retarget people who have watched a certain amount of the video with the ad to buy something. Because then we know that that's not somebody who just randomly shows up. This is someone who obviously if they engage with my video content, they know who I am, and they were intentional, they stayed, they watched. So let's say you make a 5-minute video. If you retarget people who watch 20% or 25% of the video, that means I stayed there for like at least a minute or two before, I went off to do something else. So that's who I would be advertising my stuff, like the actual buy ads to. Also, another thing that we will get into when I get into the email marketing, that's also another reason why email marketing is so important, because when you build your email list, you can upload your email list into Facebook, and Facebook will find those people who are on your email list and show the advertisements to them. Or you can also do what's called like a lookalike audience, where you tell Facebook, this is my email list. I want you to find people who look like the people on my email list, like with a difference of like 1%. So these are all different things that you can do to make sure that you can go a long way with $500, $800 or whatever on Facebook. It's just you have to be strategic in knowing what to do with that small budget. So I would recommend getting, number one, consistent, like we're putting out video content, or even if it's the blog post or whatever, spending very small, like $10 or so to get more eyes on those videos, and then retargeting the people who are engaging with that content to purchase. Okay. Let's see. Do I think MailChimp is still a good tool to use? Yes, but I will get it when we get into email marketing. I'll tell you who my favorite is. But yes, I think MailChimp is still okay. All right. Now let's get into is boosting on IG or Facebook good? Yes, boosting is good if you are going to retarget the people who engage with the boosted post. If you're not going to do that, then I feel like boosting is just lighting your money on fire. So like, that's like the best way I can say it. Like if you're not gonna retarget the people, because with a boost, typically, you know what I mean? It's just awareness. So there has to be something in place to retarget the people from a boosted post. Otherwise, no, I don't recommend it. Okay. Social media marketing. So when we talk about leveraging your business online, we simply can't do that without social media. Like I said before, 79% of your internet users are on Facebook. 6 out of 10 Americans use it as their primary news source. Again, y'all, like I said, we need help. I just, we can't even watch the news. Like, we get our news. 60% of us, Facebook is our news source. But I'm guilty, though, because a lot of times I go on Facebook, I'll see posts about, rest in peace, whatever celebrity. And I'm like, oh, who's that? What happened? And then I go, go search someplace else to go find out. But it is typically, that's how I find out like something huge just happened in the world. Sad, but I'm guilty. I'm one of those 6. And then with so many platforms to choose from, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, it is very easy to get overwhelmed as a small business and wonder like, well, where should I even be marketing at? Now, many companies dabble in social media, you throw up a post here and there. I'm guilty, y'all. Don't look at my socials, okay? Because I'm busy behind the scenes. But, you want to think of social media, again, like with the analogies, you want to think of it as like a business cocktail party. So whatever is appropriate at a business cocktail party is what would be appropriate on social media. So if you meeting someone at a cocktail party, you just said hello to them for the first time, are you going to like hand them your business card, make them go on your website and purchase like the minute you just met them? No, you would not. That wouldn't be appropriate. And a cocktail party is not appropriate on social media either, right? So, you have to gauge your content in terms of like, letting people get to know you. Like I said, understanding that, yes, you're going to post things with call to actions directly to buy stuff, of course, right? But after you know that you've posted other things to get to know people and what they want and what they're interested in. So I like to consider it as the social success cycle. So this is basically what you would do at a business cocktail party. You would listen to people, you would influence people, you would network, and you would sell. That's what happens, right? And so that's exactly what should be happening on your social media. So with the social listening, right, the piece of the social success cycle, listening is going to give you insights on what you need to do to have success in the other 3 areas. A lot of times, business owners will tell me, well, I don't even know like what to post. I'm not sure, what's up. Like, listen to your people. Ask them. They will tell you, especially those who have bought from you before. They will be in your social comments and they will tell you what they want to know. Or what are the questions that you're getting repeatedly? Those are the resources that you should be creating things around, right? Social influencing is going to be content that you're posting on social media where you are actually establishing your authority with content that shows where you've been featured. So it's also content that's going to educate or entertain. Any type of content that you post as a business owner that educates or entertains, more than likely, more times than not, will be shared, right? And then social networking. So businesses that struggle to have sales online, whenever I meet people in that circumstance, usually they're lacking in this area, right? And so social networking means like, are you commenting? Are you answering back? Are you responding to what's going on? Like, or are you just posting your stuff and you're gone? Like, and so then of course people are not really going to be engaged with your content because they can see that no one's really behind the scenes answering questions, right? And then with social selling, you want to generate leads and sales with a direct call to action for a specific resource, coupon, or product. A lot of times, what happens with social selling, why people do not see results, is because a confused mind doesn't buy. So when you are talking about a particular product, right, don't tell me shop at my website today. You know what? People are lazy. I'm not going on there to go look, right? Like, I need you to give me the link to what it is exactly that you are promoting in the post so I can just go there and get it, right? It needs to be to a specific resource, because what's going to happen, I get on the website, the dog barks, my kid's asking me for something, whatever happens, now I'm distracted, I get off, I move off. So I need like the specific thing that you are asking me to do give me that link and let me go there and purchase it. People are smart enough that if I don't want to purchase that, but I want to look at your other things, I know how to remove myself to go to the website. But if you leave it up to me, so let's say you posting about, I don't know, a candle, then you telling me go on my website and you'll find this candle. So now I gotta go on the website. I gotta go find the candles and I gotta go find that particular candle. No, just give them the link. So a lot of times when people have low conversions with social selling, this is the reason, because you're making it like work for the, especially remember, like I said before, people didn't get on whatever social media platform it was to purchase from you. So your post was already, or your ad was already an interruption. Now you making me have to do more work, you know what I mean, to find it. Okay. So how do you know in terms of small business, which platform is right for you? So like I said, with Facebook, with 2.7 billion active monthly users, every business should have a Facebook business page. If you don't, I don't even know. What are we doing? Okay. Also, you won't be able to advertise on Facebook or Instagram without one. Now, with that being said, Facebook's social media reach is, y'all, it's trash. I'm gonna just be honest. Like 2% of the people that are followers of your page probably are seeing your stuff. And also, these sites, they do low-key penalize you for not being consistent with your content. So if you post in like once every 6 months, you know, the reach that you have as opposed to someone who's posting every day is going to be different, right? But the other thing that they don't necessarily say is that when you are consistent with paid traffic using these platforms, your social, you know, they don't say this, but from what I've seen over the years, your social does get a little boost because, you know, they want to reward you for doing business with them, right? And so Instagram is going to be great for those of you that have strong visual content. I also noticed that, this is just my, professional opinion. On Facebook, the people, we're a little bougie. We're a little bougie on Facebook, right? Like, we don't want to take the time to comment as much. Instagram, people like genuinely leave good, thoughtful, long comments for the most part, much more so than Facebook. Like they're more engaged on Instagram. And, obviously since it's almost entirely mobile, that's probably has a lot to do with that. Twitter is for brands that have a strong voice. So if you are a brand that's, wanting to make a mark in terms of like activism, you have, social stands that you really want to be known for, Twitter is your spot, right? Your success on this platform is going to depend on your ability as well to retweet content that's going to be valuable to your audience. Pinterest, I would recommend for those of you who have brands that would be able to take advantage of a digital bulletin board. So if you're doing anything with food, photography, beauty, exercise, fashion, any type of like DIY projects, after you make yourself known on Facebook, I would recommend getting on Pinterest. Snapchat, we're gonna pray for that. I don't know. Is anybody on Snapchat anymore? I don't know. But Snapchat, I'm not Generation Z, so but I am on TikTok because now, from an advertising standpoint, I've started running TikTok ads for people. But what I have noticed with TikTok is that it's short videos. It's focused primarily on entertainment, not education. Like nobody's going on TikTok like, oh, I want to learn how to do, XYZ. We're going on TikTok to be entertained. Like some people are using it as like another form of TV. Right. So any advertising or stuff that you're posting on TikTok, for the most part, needs to be entertaining. Because nobody's going on TikTok really to learn nothing. And then lastly, LinkedIn has about 260 million monthly users. I would say it's the best platform for professional networking. So if you're looking to get like corporate clients, then I would, and that's your main priority, then I would say LinkedIn would be where you would want to have a presence on LinkedIn as well. All right, let's see. Now, implementation time. One more again. I do feel like many of you are already on social media. So my question is twofold. I want to know which two platforms are you going to get on, but that you're going to be consistent. That's the key. The consistent. Okay. And then part two, I want to know, how are you going to change your content to actually reflect what I said in the social success cycle? Are you going to, stop telling people go visit, mybusiness.com and actually give them a product to go buy, things like that. So let me see. All right. Monaster said I might check LinkedIn once every few months. Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, I will be more consistent. Instagram and TikTok, Facebook and TikTok, TikTok and Twitter, IG and TikTok. You process videos only on TikTok, educational and lifestyle photos on IG. Perfect, Rebecca Lee. I built followers and didn't even know I had them, wasn't trying. That's awesome. Be more intentional. Robert Slash said Facebook and LinkedIn was Otis. Chef Jordan, IG and TikTok. Indira said Facebook and Instagram, and she will stop saying visit my website without the link. Thank you. All right. We're going to do better. But it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. Chef Vicky said Facebook and IG. Perfect. Yep. Consistency is the key with these platforms. And again, don't be discouraged if you're posting and it's like crickets, you're not getting a lot of engagement and stuff like that. Because quiet as this kept, once you start adding paid traffic to your methods, sometimes what you're posting on social media, it actually helps your ads for people to build trust on your brand. So for me, like if I'm building, a ad campaign for someone, and let's say they haven't posted on social media since 2020, I mean, when you make the ad, the person can click on the ad and go directly to your page. So think of it in terms of consistency. Like if you don't see people like, comment, shares, whatever, you're still building trust for your brand, because when a person clicks on an advertisement for your brand, they want to see, was anybody here? Like, is anybody posted since 2021? You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's more of a credibility thing than, because if I click on an ad and I see you haven't posted since, 2019, 2020, I don't know. I'm like, is anybody working here? Is it a scam? What's going on, right? So get out of the mindset of, being so attached to engagement, and just look at it as like a tool that you're doing as part of the relationship. Like someone is gonna click on my ads, they're gonna go look on my page just to see if we're legit, if there's someone here. So don't get too bent out of shape about that. Let's see. Liz said Facebook, IG, YouTube, TikTok. Monica, that's why I post every day. So when I do an event, it's not like I fell out of the sky. Exactly. Like, where you been? Right. Exactly. I like Monica. Such a smart person. All right. Let's see. So Chef Vicky asks, do you find that along with those, there should be a website that is consistent to what you're selling and maybe have the Shopify and a call to action? I'm now thinking about fixing my site to reflect all my events and have a place where people can also buy my products. So yes, you definitely want to have a website that you are, because you want to take people off of social media and onto your website. Number one, so that you place a pixel on your website so that you can see what type of people are coming to the site. But also, don't get caught up in the point where I feel like a lot of times businesses lose a very unique opportunity to get sales because they're waiting until like they have this perfect polished website in order to post on social media and make ads, and it's not true. You don't need that. Like if you have a page, order form on Shopify or an online service provider, guys, I can't tell you how many times I've thrown up a landing page for, you know, a workshop or a webinar or a challenge or whatever. The person signs up for it without like a full blown website, and sales still happen. So don't, I wouldn't say don't have a website, but don't make that be a reason. Don't give yourself that as a reason as to why you're not advertising. Because it is not needed initially. Okay, so Monica said that's now become another goal to have constant traffic with updating once a week, something the organizations is doing so they don't think you're not legit. Yeah. So you want to at least once a week throw something out there, y'all. Something if you're advertising, please. But so people don't click on the ad and then go on your page and like, what's going on here? Okay. All right. Now this is actually my favorite. Email marketing. So contrary to popular opinion, email marketing is far from dead. I love email marketing. If you couldn't tell already, I love email marketing more so than almost everything marketing wise. And the reason why is because social media platforms, you don't own those, right? And they can be deleted at any time. Your email list is an actual asset that you own. You guys are going forward and like pitching. So this isn't, your email list is an asset that you own, and it's considered an asset because it's very easy to calculate exactly how much revenue can be generated off of an email list. It's just math, right? Whereas with social media, we don't know. An automated abandoned cart or first time discount email sequence will boost your sales from anywhere to 5 to 20%, right? Having one of those in place. Organic reach on social media, like I said, is pretty much trash. 2 to 5% on any given day for a consistent poster. And everybody tell me in the chat, followers are not funds. Oh my gosh, that's another t-shirt I need to make, right? Followers are not fun. So I don't care if you have, y'all, I have like over 10K people following me on IG right now. That's not who's helping me make revenue in my business, right? Followers are not fun. So email is predictable revenue. It converts, usually your emails will convert at 1 to 5%. So when you know that, if there's a certain revenue goal that you have, you just reverse the math. You do the math, you determine exactly how much you want to make. You determine what 1 to 5% of that number, you know, how many people need to be on your email list to get it, which is so much more simpler than social media. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like we post, remember we said it's rain. We don't know what it's going to do, right? And so it, in my opinion, has the highest return on investment of any marketing activity. But sadly, you know, so many businesses are using it incorrectly or they're not using it at all, right? Okay, so an abandoned cart email sequence. So this is a funnel that I would highly recommend if you do not have it. Even if you are an online service provider, you can still have an abandoned cart, because if someone goes to your page to book a service and then they don't follow through, you still can have an abandoned cart. Like, hey, what happened, right? Basically, what it's designed to do is counteract any unfinished sales transactions. It happens frequently. People get distracted. Like I said, the dog barked, the light turned off, whatever, life happens. And so if you don't have some kind of abandoned cart recovery process in place, you are literally leaving money on the table, right? Your abandoned cart recovery sequence typically will have like a 40% open rate. Guys, hello. And so if your product is priced anywhere from $100 to $500, you can expect to reclaim at least 5% or more of lost sales by having this. An abandoned cart sequence will also convert better if it is personalized instead of generic. So I know like with Shopify, they will create abandoned cart sequences for you, but it's very general. It's a template. It doesn't give the person like any idea as to who the business owner is, anything about you. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to use one, make it personalized. Don't let it just be a template that you use with no, you know, addition from you. So you also want to include any type of copywriting. You want to also include in the copywriting that you are aware that a sale was started and not finished, right? You want to let them know that, hey, we saw you checking out our stuff, XYZ, the transaction didn't happen. And you basically, it lets them know, like, we cared. There's some human being behind the doors of this business. We know something happened and you didn't finish, right? So normally when I'm setting up abandoned cart sequences for people, I normally send up 3 emails and 2 text messages that are typically sent from like a 3 to 5 day period. So I'll send one immediately, maybe like an hour after the cart was abandoned, one like 24 hours later, and then a third maybe 48 to 72 hours later. Just really depends. Okay. First time discounts. This is also another great one. You want to allow for a discount of at least 20% or higher for a first time purchase. A lot of people are using first time discount email sequences, but they're doing like foolish discounts of like 5%, 10%. Like, that's not moving anybody really to action. If you are uncomfortable with giving a discount of at least 20%, then I recommend going with free shipping instead, because for some reason, free shipping, we can have like $500 worth of products in our cart, but when we hear free shipping, we're like, yes, like I'm gonna order. So if it's gonna be less than 20%, then go with free shipping instead, because a 10% or 5% discount is not moving anybody to action at all. But free shipping definitely will. Same thing, you want to send 3 emails or 3 emails and 2 texts over a 3 to 5 day period. You want to make sure that you exclude people who have already bought from the automation. So if I sign up for the first time discount funnel and then I end up buying, I don't need to go through the rest of the sequence. So remove me out of it. Okay. Keep in mind that acquiring new customers is 5 times more expensive than having an existing one make another purchase. So again, that's another place where I see people fall through the side cracks. They spend a lot of time trying to acquire new customers without like re-engaging or taking care of the ones that you've had before. So again, going back to the relationship example, somebody that you've kissed before, it's much easier to get them to kiss you again than to get somebody brand new to kiss you, right? So that's how you have to look at it. So don't throw all your eggs towards getting, first time customers and then leave the people that have bought from you and did what you wanted them to do. You just leave them hanging, right? On average, 96% of people who visit a website will leave without ever converting to a lead or a sale. So again, this is the reason why we have this in place. Okay, let's check the chat real quick. And is there a program we can use that can create lists for you? No, your advertising creates the list. Because every time someone purchases from you, they should be added to your email list. Anytime somebody subscribes to any free resource or a first time discount, they should be added to your email list. So that's basically what would grow the list for you. Okay, implementation time once again. I want to know, for those of you, it doesn't matter whether it's e-commerce or online service provider, which of the email sequences are you going to be adding? Or if you have it, are you going to update it? Which one are you going to do first? And by when will you have it up and running? Let me know. I'm not understanding your question, Monster. Okay, so Nicole said
your algorithm come in or what type of traffic is coming. That's how they know how to push or market it. Is that what that algorithm, like, keeping track of who's looking, what type of people?
No, the algorithm keeps track of, certain, like, who engages and stuff like that. But for a business owner, the most important thing would be, like, you're going to have code that you put on your site, which is called a pixel, or on Google it's called a tag. And it basically is like a little piece of code that you put, and it keeps track of who's visiting and just gives you information about those people. But with the Facebook algorithm or YouTube algorithm, those are things that they don't typically release, to the public, and it changes, from time to time. So I don't too much get caught up in like algorithm stuff, just because I could learn it today and then tomorrow it's going to be something new. So I'm more so like, there's evidence through your paid traffic methods, if you are engaging or not.
Yeah, YouTube sends you that email every month to say how many people looked at your videos or your traffic.
Exactly.
But it ain't got to the point where they paying yet, though.
Right.
They be sending the balloons up.
So with YouTube, for organic methods with YouTube, you have to have 4,000 hours of videos watched and at least 1,000 subscribers for them to even enter into a conversation of paying you anyway. So let me see. I see Nicole said personalized abandoned cart by today, updating abandoned cart tonight, discount code to either 25% or free shipping by the end of July for Aurelia. Otis, email advertising within the next 2 weeks. Liz says she didn't have one, but we'll start with email marketing this weekend. All right. Indira, email advertising offering free shipping. Perfect, guys. I love it. Okay, this I'm going to fly over because we're getting towards the end, and this is just something that people always think that they need, but I don't really think you do. That's just me, because I feel like paid traffic accomplishes this for you. But hey, this is something that people want to know about. So search engine marketing. It's a long game strategy commonly known as SEO, search engine optimization. What it does is it helps you get free organic traffic and boost your visitors' trust. In order to win with SEO, though, you basically have to be producing high quality content, and you have to optimize your website for the users first, which is what the search engines really care about. Like I just said before, algorithms are always constantly changing. So in order to rank high with Google, the best bet, if before you go invest in an SEO company or whatever, your best bet is to visit the top ranking sites for a problem and create assets that are better than what you find. When you go on Google, so let's say your business is jewelry, let's say you go on Google and you're like, what's the top 10 jewelry companies or whatever, and let's see what Google comes up with. If there are resources that they have there, create something better than what you see. So that's like a backdoor way to moving up, higher than what's currently out there in SEO before you actually go and pay someone for it. Website analytics, in order for you to decide like what's working and what isn't, there has to be a system in place for you to gather data about what happens on your website. And so ironically, the way to get started with this is you really just ask questions like, what type of people are visiting my site? Who is actually failing to convert? Am I producing the type of content that these people want? Right? And then while you're answering these questions for yourself, you turn that into strategies to get more visits. Again, like I said, the website analytics and SEO, if your paid traffic is doing what it's supposed to do, it will cover a lot of this for you. You know what I mean? So that you don't have to make these, so that you don't have to get too deep in the weeds with these. And then lastly is conversion rate optimization. So one of the things during the pandemic that was affecting a lot of people is that, like I told you before, Facebook and Apple went into like a big beef. The beef is still continued. The short version of the tea is basically Apple, if you have an iPhone, after you did iOS update 14, I believe it was, Apple removed you from Facebook's tracking, right? So that's the reason why, when you go back in, it asks you sometimes, and now everybody has to have the disclaimer with cookies, whatever, because Apple removes all of us iPhone people from Facebook's tracking. It was a big, big thing, right? And so advertisers were obviously very affected by that, because if our pixels are not tracking who's visiting the site, then how are we, the advertisements are not going to be as effective. And so advertising prices went up. So what ended up happening, the solution to this was that you have to just get better conversion rates. So instead of, trying to make someone purchase one time, what on the back end can you do? Set up email marketing, set up, other forms of things so that after they go through the advertisement, maybe the cost to get this new customer might have been $5 in 2020, and now in 2022 it's 10. But now you have email sequences in place to get more sales. You understand? So you have to do a better job now, as an entrepreneur, of getting better conversion rates as a result of what's going on. And so just some feedback, like only 20% of entrepreneurs are currently satisfied with their current conversion rates. And the purpose of your conversion rates is not just to increase sales. It's also to increase leads, increase traffic, right? And so different types of site metrics that you can have in place to help your conversion rates get better are Google Analytics, Shopify's behavior metrics, True Conversion, looking through your customer email metrics. These are the email providers that I recommend. My number one favorite is ActiveCampaign, but other good ones are ConvertKit, Infusionsoft, and MailChimp. But ActiveCampaign, hands down, is my favorite. So an example of how you can better your conversion rate optimization would be, for example, you have a paid ad that leads people to purchase from you one time, right? Let's say you sell candles. You have a paid ad that leads to a purchase of a candle. But what happens after that? Well, you need to get a weekly newsletter that you're sending to this person so that you can continue to generate additional sales from them. Don't let that one transaction just be it, right? Or maybe adding an upsell to a thank you purchase, to a purchase after like the person makes the purchase, maybe adding an upsell to the thank you page after someone signs up for a lead magnet or makes a purchase. These are all ways that you can increase your conversion rate on how much you're making with each sale. Okay. Now, this is the last two things that I want to cover, and then I'm going to open it up for a Q&A. But this, I call it the e-commerce growth equation, but this is growth really for any business, okay? Copy this equation down. So V times CR times CM minus VC equals money for you, okay? So V means visitors. Facebook and IG are still the GOATs, like I said, in terms of driving traffic and getting visitors in spite of all the issues that companies face with them. So although you can spread advertising to other platforms, you really just can't leave Facebook. I mean, I don't recommend it. CR means conversion rate, investing in conversion rate assistance. So maybe that means getting an ads manager, getting a copywriter, getting someone to help you with launch strategy, stuff like that. All of these things are conversion rate assistance because that's basically what those people are working as. And then your cash multiplier. So your cash multiplier, again, this is something that as you guys are pitching, this is very important. Your cash multiplier is going to be something that you are doing after somebody purchases to create repeat business, right? So when you start an ad campaign, instead of trying to sell like this one product and then that's it, you really need to be looking at, when I get somebody to buy this one product, what else am I getting people to buy within a 60-day period? That is the real value of the client, right? What are they doing within 60 days of that first sale? Are they buying something else? Are they buying 2 or 3 more times? Are they buying 4 more times? Because granted, if I spend, let's say I spend $25 to get this client to make a purchase, and let's say, for example, the product is $20, at face value, the optics don't look good, right? But if I know that once somebody buys from me once, they're going to buy in 2 months, they're going to buy from me at least 2 or 3 times. Well, then now I've spent $25 to make $75. You see the difference? So this is why your cash multiplier, you have to know how much people are spending in a 60-day period. You're going out pitching, knowing that your 60-day value, when you're doing the financial forecast for your deck and stuff, you know how critical this is, knowing that, hey, once I get these people in 2 months, I'm able to get them to buy from me 2, 3, 4 more times. All of that is helping, you know what I'm saying, for you to get investors. And variable costs, right? Are you doing what you need to do as a company to lower your costs for acquiring your products and shipping them? Like, what's the primary reason that you guys are getting returns? And once you know that, are you making any type of post-purchase funnel to address that communication? Like, let's say, for example, I had a client who does pole fitness, and she was doing like poles where you set up the pole in your house for you to learn pole dancing at home. Well, after they buy the pole, like, there's a lot that needs to be communicated on how to set up the pole in the house, how to, what tools do you need? Like, a lot of times people might return because they think it's a difficult process to set the pole up, and that's not the case. So these are all things that you can do to lower, your variable costs. Okay. And then the very last thing is something that I call the rule of 30 over 100. So that same 60-day value of a customer, right? You want to strive for a 30% increase every 60 days and at least a 100% increase within a year. I promise you, if you do this, when you have these metrics and you go out to people and pitch, you're getting funds, okay? Like, because they can see the trajectory of your business. They can see that you are on a rise, right? That you are doing what is needed to be done to recoup an investment back, right? So, and even for yourself, right? Because not all investment comes from outside. Sometimes the investment is you, right? You're investing in your own business. So when you see these type of metrics, you feel comfortable investing in something because you can see like, oh, but in 60 days, I probably am going to make this much back, right? So it's not as nerve-wracking, as nervous. You're not as scared, you know what I mean, to put dollars behind what you're doing. All right, so that is it for me. If I'm going to go through it, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Any questions?
Yes, Indira, just want to thank you for this presentation. It comes right in the middle of a campaign I'm currently doing to set up some automation process with marketing, especially the email marketing. Mm-hmm. So very good, valuable information here to kind of, really reinforce the process.
Thank you, Otis.
Thanks much.
Thank you. I saw another hand raised.
I see Liz. Oh, I see Nicole. Man. Okay, go ahead, Liz.
With the email marketing, so I already have a client list that I did not get their emails. And I wanted to know, is there an easier way other than contacting each of them and getting the emails from them? Is there like something I could use to send to them and then they just type it in and it'll generate like some type of list?
You lost me in the beginning. So where do you have these people from?
So my regular clients. Okay. So I have a few regular clients that I have not been getting their email addresses to create an email list.
Got it.
So I wanted to know, other than contacting them directly and getting their email addresses individually, is there like a program or something where I could create a link and send to them and then they could just type in their information?
Yeah, so that would be considered like a landing page, or most of the time if you have an email service provider like ActiveCampaign or something like that, okay, there's like a little box thing that you could create and it will give you a link and you can just share the link with people and ask them to put in their name and their email address. But because you have clients already, you're still going to have to give them the link, you know what I mean? For them to input the information. But then for future, you want to make sure that you have something in place so that whenever you get a brand new client, this happens seamlessly and automatically. So you would have them get the link as soon as they make an appointment or whatever it is, so that once you fix this for the future, it's seamless.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nicole is next.
Yes. Hi, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. I too struggle in this area, so I took a lot of notes, and I'm thankful for the presentation that we're going to receive. My question is, I have my website on Shopify. We paid someone to build it, and we finally got it up, which was a struggle. But I've heard now that it might not be the best platform to use for SEO, like word search optimization. So is that true? Do I have to have like a WordPress website in order to optimize to have the best control? Or
I think it depends on what your goals are as a business. So for me, right, paid traffic is something that, as a business owner, I would always have in place. And so then at that point, it doesn't really matter. And so for Shopify specifically, it is very seamless. It is a very seamless integration with Facebook, with Facebook's advertising platform. Shopify and Facebook's advertising platform work very well together. No glitches, no issues. So if you are looking at it from that standpoint, then Shopify is the best place to build a website. If SEO, like I said, is so sporadic, like you could be the top of the search today and then tomorrow you're not. And so I feel like for you to redo a whole website, just for the possibility of a few a few eyes on SEO, I don't think it's worth it, especially if you're using paid traffic. The paid traffic is going to drive traffic to the site anyway, which is what SEO is supposed to do. So I wouldn't change it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, you did good. Okay. All right, Aurelia?
Are you offering any one-on-one office hours?
Yes, I do have office hours. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. Only reason because I have an iOS app, so Facebook ads aren't really the best for me for conversions. They're great for awareness and driving traffic to maybe the App Store, but once they go into the App Store, they get lost because Apple has shut Facebook out. So I kind of wanted to find out. And a lot of marketing people or advertisers tell me the same thing, like, with apps, it's very different. So I don't know if you have any unique strategies that we could talk about how to get them.
I can give the link, and then you can schedule time with me one-on-one. I also saw Indira mention that as well in the comments. So I will definitely provide my link to you guys. I'll send it when you guys get the slides, it'll have the link to book a session with me. So
and Indira has worked with companies that are fully app focused. So
so that's why I know
right up her alley.